So in today's video, we will try to discover that one top growth stock to invest in 2025. Hey everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel once again. This is your friend Abhishek, but not a financial advisor. And as you might have seen to the title of the video, the one growth stock that could make you rich in 2025. So just let me clarify, there is no such shortcut to success and or rich make you rich, but this particular stock might be undervalued, and that's why I will be showing you the bearish and the bullish case scenario and then the valuation model, and then in the end I'll walk you through my strategy for this particular company. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So guys, the stock we are going to talk about today is TMDX, TransMedics, and at the time of recording this video, the stock is currently trading at $59 with a P ratio of 64 and a forward P ratio of around 55. So when we look at these metrics, it looks kind of expensive, yeah, but the business is also growing at 70 to 80%. So anyways, I'll walk you through the slides which I have made with some information regarding the bearish case and the bullish case scenario. So let's get right into it. Okay, so to start our TMDX stock analysis for 2025 and why we could consider to invest in TMDX stock, and to understand TMDX growth potential in 2025, we must first see the bullish scenario. So let's go through it. But before we jump onto the bullish cases, we must understand what TransMedics is actually doing, for those who have no idea about this company. So TransMedics OCS is a platform that allows it to leverage core technologies across products for multiple organs. Today, the company has developed 3 OCS products, organ care system products, one for each of heart, lung and liver transplantations, making the OCS the only FDA approved portable multi-organ warm perfusion technology platform. Now all 3 of the products, OCS heart, OCS lung and OCS liver, have received pre-market approval already, PMA, from the FDA for both organs donated after brain death and organs donated after circulatory death. So this is quite important to understand what TransMedics is doing and what are their strengths in this industry. So the OCS, or the organ care system platform, the only multi-organ portable warm perfusion platform you can see, this looks like this: OCS lung, OCS heart and OCS liver. Now, so to understand why TransMedics could be a best healthcare stock in 2025, we must understand the advantage of this technology. To understand that, let's go through this particular slide. So transporting organs, clinical staff and medical technology in the field of organ transplant is very challenging. Donor organs may come available at almost any hospital and at any time. The donor organ must be retrieved and transported to allocated recipients in a timely manner while protecting the organ from ischemic injury. The donor site may not be easily accessible, and the distance from donor to recipient may be very long. And the expansion of TransMedics, and here is when TransMedics comes into action. So the expansion of TransMedics NOP to provide its own transportation and logistics services, including 100% owned and operated private aircraft dedicated to organ retrieval, improves the efficiency of utilizing the NOP as a complete solution for organ procurement. So here we get the idea why TransMedics is far ahead in the game in organ care system. So another bullish point, during the third quarter of 2024, TMDX continued to focus on increasing utilization of the OCS across all 3 organs and its logistics services, and the progress is evident so far. Given this, the stock seems well positioned to navigate the current macroeconomic climate. It's not a really bullish point in my opinion, and I will get onto that when we will be discussing the bearish case scenario. But we have to consider this when it comes to at least that TMDX continue to focus on increasing utilization of the OCS. So this is kind of a bullish point, not the last statement. So now, why I think TMDX has a great moat and the competition is not that big. Okay, so to receive FDA approval for TMDX PMA products, the company had to conduct many clinical trials with large number of patients participants, the results of which were published in leading medical journals. The company also continued to collect clinical data through post-market registries for all its products and plans to continue to provide the scientific results of these registries to the clinical user community. So it had to be, as we already know, that to get an FDA approval is not easy. We already have had that experience, and this is why it's important to understand what TMDX had to do to get PMA for its products. Another bullish point is right here. So TMDX transplants and revenue has been increasing quite dramatically. As we can see, the US OCS transplants is considered or projected to grow at 29% compound annual growth rate until 2028. And for the forward year 2028, for the annual revenue, it is considered to increase by 29% CAGR. Okay, so if you compare it with forward year 2021 to 2024, which has increased by 129% and 142% respectively for the US OCSN annual revenue, you might think that 29% is a really slow down rate. But guys, you have to understand that we have to see if TMDX is still acquiring the market share, then this double-digit growth is not that bad. And we will get on to the multiples in a bit, okay? So the untapped growth potential beyond the 10,000 transplants opportunity is huge. So this is TMDX first target to reach 10,000 transplants opportunity by 2028 or 2029. I'm not sure if that would be possible, but let's discuss just the bullish points for now. So we can see that the potential is huge. Yeah, the potential is huge. So currently they are just at 3,600, but we can see the potential is up to 40,000. So this is something which we must consider when we are evaluating TMDX. Okay, so TransMedics gross margin and gross profit has been increasing nicely, but in 2024, as we can see, the gross margin reduced, but the gross profit is at all-time highs. So the management came out and gave a reason to this downfall, but we'll come on to that in a moment. So for now, let's consider that, okay, their gross profit is at all-time highs. Now, this is one of the most bullish points in my opinion, that first time since 2018, TMDX has become profitable. So they generated positive operating cash flow, and this is the metric which I really would like to see, that they're generating positive cash flow from their business operations. Yeah, no finances, nothing else but business operations. So this is something which I would love to see in businesses, and we can see that trailing 12-month period in last 2 quarters, it's quite positive, and it's actually at all-time highs. So this is one of the most bullish points in my opinion. So now let's come on to the bearish case scenario, and here we will also discuss the TMDX financial performance, and we will see what would be TransMedics Group future growth. Yeah, so let's move on. First point is full year 2023 financial results. The total revenue for the full year of 2023 was $241.6 million, which was a whopping 159% increase compared to $93 million in the full year of 2022. Remember this, okay? This is quite important. So why have I put this slide in the bearish scenario? Because we have to remember that they had an increase of 159% in their sales in 2023. 3-digit growth. Now, TransMedics now expects revenue for the full year to be in the range of 428 million to 432 million, which represents a growth of 77 to 79%. So here, first bearish point is that we came down to 2-digit growth, yeah, double-digit growth, and which is almost half of the previous year. The second bearish point is in the same slide. So their first outlook was actually 425 to 445 million dollars, which was representing a growth of 76 to 84%. So the first bearish point is that they came down to 2-digit growth, and the second bearish point is that they had to reduce their outlook. So these two are quite bearish points in my opinion. Now, despite the potential within the organ transplant therapy market driven by a growing addressable market, the downward estimates indicate that the company might not be able to overcome the negative market momentum anytime soon. Now, like I said, if you remember that their gross margin was reducing, yeah, and we also see that their sales have been declining. So the management came out and said that this is just a temporary headwind because of the macroeconomic situation, whereas we see that the organ transplant therapy market is growing. So the management is saying that they are not losing market share, but actually this is not a bullish statement in my opinion. The management should say, in fact, that they are gaining market share. Not losing market share is not a go when the market, the addressable market for this particular industry is growing. So not losing is not a bullish statement. So this is another really big bearish point in my opinion. So now let's talk about the valuation to give you guys an idea if this company is investable or not. So I'm taking net income per earnings as a metric to consider, because I am not so sure about their cash flow yet, how it will be growing, because they just became profitable, and to predict the future cash flow is not that efficient in my case. But I love always to take price to free cash flow as my metric to evaluate companies, because that is something which is more significant, and that is something which I always would like to see in a company, to evaluate a company based on future cash flows. Anyways, so here we will take net income per earnings. So the number of years we are trying to project is for 5 years. I don't want to go too far, because then that becomes more hypothetical. So the metric growth rate I'm taking now is 30%. So they have been growing, or let's say their negative earnings were becoming or improving by 20 to 30% year over year. And that's why I'm taking 30% as a metric growth rate for now. This I still think might be conservative, but let's take a conservative approach. So they are increasing their shares outstanding by 4.8%, which we can see. And I do believe that they will keep diluting us, which is not that good, especially when they become cash flow positive. So I can understand that this was happening when they were cash flow negative, but as soon as they become cash flow positive, I expect that they would be giving the shareholders back some value. Now they don't have dividends, and the price ratio. So for the price ratio, the average price ratio for net income per earnings has been at 18. Now I have taken 18.24. Now I'm taking this to be at 16. So to be more conservative, and a discount rate of 10%. And this gives us a fair value of $60. So that means we are just at the fair value. And the future stock price of $98 and growing at a compound annual growth rate of 10.38%. Now, 10.38% in my opinion is not that impressive. But let's see what TMDX has to do in order to reach this. So now TMDX is generating a 4 billion net income per earnings, and they would have to generate $16 billion net income per earnings. So now if you think that TMDX can do this until 2029, then this is something which you could consider. Now let's tweak some numbers. So let's say the price ratio is at 18. I'm not changing the metric growth rate yet, because I would like to see when the management would say that, okay, we are acquiring more market share, because if they are still not growing at this pace of 70 to 80% for the next 2 to 3 years, then I don't think that this metric growth rate would be staying at 30%. So just tweaking the price ratio, we see that the fair value is up by 14%, and this is what I would like to see, a compound annual growth rate of 13%. So beating the market indices, the broad market indices, and we are still at projected earnings of $16 billion. So this is the valuation model, guys, and this is what I think could be possible for TMDX. So that's it, guys, with TransMedics TMDX. Now what's my strategy regarding TMDX? So I opened up a small position in TMDX at $60 average price. And why I did not buy a really good lump sum amount, because I do think that there's another really good high potential undervalued growth stock to invest in 2025, on which I'll be making videos soon. And that's why I need to divide my portfolio into these undervalued stocks. S&P 500 is on a bit of overvalued side. So what I have done is reduced my SIPs or savings plan from S&P 500 index into some undervalued stocks like TMDX. But like I said, TMDX is still a bit on the expensive side according to my assumptions. Okay, your assumptions could be different. And now, like you guys saw, that the expecting revenue growth will be around 70, 75, 78%, which is still super high, guys, which is still super high. Okay, but the market was expecting 150% growth rate, and according to that, in my opinion, the valuation or the investors were willing to pay a high multiple of 70, 80, and once it was trading above 100, and now it has come down to 65, 66. I'm still waiting for the Q1 results of 2025, and then I will be pretty sure how the management is trying to achieve targets, or how near are the numbers to the outlook. Okay, so then I will get some more idea. But the strategy, to make it clear once again, to summarize it, I have opened up a small position but no SIP because I still have few more other undervalued stocks, which in my opinion has a much better valuation than TransMedics. But I am still confident in TransMedics in, let's say, 2 to 3 years of time frame, because like I said, there are many expensive stocks in which people are investing right now. Palantir and Tesla. I'm a big fan of Tesla and I've made a lot of videos on Tesla, but to be honest guys, it is a bit on the expensive side. So we have to find undervalued stocks in such an expensive market. Just to clarify, I don't think S&P 500 is in a bubble. It's just on the expensive side. So that's it guys. That's all with TransMedics. And if you guys like the video, then please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be bringing up such updates. If you guys have some more stocks for me to research on, then do leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, ciao.